Hello people and welcome back to the channel. Today we are filming a video that has been highly requested, so much so that I've been nervous to make it, but that's okay because we are drafting our own pant pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there that you never get it right on the first time. Disclaimer, yes, this is how to draft your own pant pattern, but we will have to make adjustments. You kind of always do based on your body type and measurements. What works for 2D doesn't always work for 3D, but I'm excited to help you guys get there. So first, there are a few things that you'll need, and that's pattern paper or some kind of see-through tracing paper. If it's not see-through, that's not a deal breaker. It's just easier. Next, you'll need a measuring tape, some kind of long ruler. 12 inches is fine, but if you have a longer ruler, that'd be awesome. Of course, a pencil, because we don't do nothing in marker here. And then also, optional, a hip ruler. So I'll be doing everything in pencil and then outlining it with Sharpie so you guys can see what is going on. And now to get started, there are some measurements you need to take. So first, we'll start with our horizontal measurements. So you'll need your waist measurement, which looks like this. Next, you'll need your hip measurement, which looks like this. To know what's your hip, it normally sits at, and I said this in my last video as well, but right in the middle of like one butt cheek. In the middle of that cheek is most likely where your hip is. It's just the widest part of your lower half. So go ahead and take down that measurement. You'll also need your thigh measurement, your knee measurement, and your ankle measurement. So we do thigh, knee, and ankle just in case you want to do a slimmer fit pant or skinny jean versus a straight leg pant. Today we'll be doing more of a form-fitting pant, but if you want to do more of a straight leg pant, all you have to do is take your thigh measurement and bring that all the way down, slimming down just a little at the ankle. Alright, next we'll do some vertical measurements, and that's from where you measured your waist to where you measured your hip. So waist to hip measurement, which looks like this. Then you'll need your crotch depth, which technically is like waist to crotch, but how you get that is that you sit in a chair and you measure from your waist down to the bottom of your butt. That is your crotch depth measurement that we'll need. Next, you'll measure down waist to thigh, then also waist to knee, and then waist to ankle. And a pro tip for getting those last two is to use a mirror, a full body mirror, so that way you don't have to bend down and mess up the measurement by bending down. You can just put it at your waist, let the measuring tape hang, stand by a mirror, and collect those measurements. So once you have all those measurements, we are ready to start drafting. Alright guys, to get started drafting your pattern, I already have some things marked out, but we'll go over them. What you want to do first is mark a straight line down your pattern. Be sure to do this in some because we will be adding seam allowance, etc. So go ahead and draw a straight line. And I'm doing this in Sharpie so you guys will see it hopefully. And from this line, we'll start adding measurements. So after you draw your straight line, what you're going to do is go ahead and square off the top line. This will now be your waistline, and you can mark it as such. WL. And then now we'll be using our vertical measurements. So the pant I'm making today is for a friend. I'm going to go ahead and use the measurements I got for them. So you want to do your waist to hip measurement, which for me is going to be 8 inches down. Go down 8 inches, draw a little tick, and then from there, draw a straight line. And this is why having a long ruler can be beneficial, so you don't have to keep inching the ruler forward as you draw. And then go ahead and mark that as your hip line. And then you want to take your crotch depth, or like waist to crotch measurement, and get that. Mine sits an inch below the hip line, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that straight line as well. And this is now your crotch line, CL. And then you'll take your waist to thigh, knee, and ankle. Cool, so now we're gonna start with actually our hip measurement. So take your hip measurement and divide it by 4. For my person, their hip measurement was 37, so divide it by 4. That is 9 1/4 inches, which is right here. And what you're going to want to do is also mark that measurement on your waistline. So we'll go up, mark that here as well. So now you'll take your waist measurement and divide that by 4 as well. Her waist measurement was 28, divided by 4, that's 7. So what you'll do is take your ruler and from this point, go this way and measure out 7. So for me, that looks like this. And then also too, we're going to want to add in, so let me go ahead. So you'll want to, because you'll be doing this in pencil, it'll be better for you. So what you'll do is mark that 7. But then what we're going to do is add an inch for the dart. And that's gonna be our new measurement. After you added an inch to your waist measurement, that is your new position. And now we can connect the waistline to the hip line. I also want to jump in here really quick and let you guys know that I am actually using, or the way I found out how to do this was from a video that I'll link down below. She has a really good technique for making a pant pattern, which is really nice. But when I first did this video, there was a lot I had to correct, so I'll be doing it a little differently than her. But her video is amazing, and that's what I'm getting all this information from as well. So if you don't understand the way I'm saying it, feel free to check out her video as well, because I think she did an excellent job. Though you'll definitely have to like adjust some fit issues after you create it, but hopefully with the new way I'm doing it for you guys, you won't have to do that. So now we're gonna focus on the crotch point, but before we do that, what you're gonna wanna do, and you can do this in the beginning as well, I just kind of forgot to. What you'll want to do is connect these two marks all the way down to the crotch line. And then next what we're going to do is take our hip measurement and divide it by 4. And basically with that new measurement, what you're going to do is from your crotch line, where this line meets, you're going to go out that much. So for me that's 2.3, so it's going to be a little bit over 2 for me. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that out. And what we're going to do is connect this point up to this line, but you want to be sure you don't go too deep in so you have enough space. And for my fellas as well, like I would even go out, yeah, I would take that line out a ½ inch more if you are male. So to connect this line, you want to make sure you don't go deeper than, from this point out, you want to make sure you don't go deeper than 1.5 inches. So go ahead and mark that, and then you can just start to freehand connect it up to the straight line. Make sure I don't go too low. Perfect. So once you have your crotch point, what you want to do is take your ruler and find the midpoint of this, the center of the crotch line. So for me, this is 11.5 inches. So the center would be 5.5. I'll go ahead and mark that with my pencil first. And then basically now what you want to do the whole way down is mark your center point on your trousers. So you just want to make sure this line is straight. You can even like square up your lines with your ruler, but we're going to draw this straight line all the way down. So now your whole pattern should look something like this from your ankle line up. You should just have a straight line that shows the center of your pattern, which is how we'll work. And then now we'll add in the inch dart that we already put in, but now we'll put it in place. So now we have our center line of our pattern, we can add in our dart. The average dart goes down about 4 inches. For me personally, I like to do 4.5. I feel like it gives you a nicer hug onto the body. It's what I use for my personal pant pattern, so I'm gonna mark 4.5 on my center front line. And then also from the center, I'm gonna go ahead and mark 1 inch or ½ inch on both sides to be 1 inch in total, because that's what we added our darts to be. And now we can move on to forming the rest of our pant. So now that we have our center line, drafting the rest of our pattern should be pretty easy. So now this is where you can differ if you're doing a straight leg or wide leg pant versus more of a tapered fit pant. This is gonna be more of a skinny pant. It won't be a skinny jean like tight, but it will be more fitted to the actual measurements versus being straight leg. If you wanted a straight leg pant, you could put in your thigh measurement and then just go straight down from your thigh measurement, coming in just a little bit at the ankle. You're gonna take your thigh measurement, and for me, and for who I'm making this for, the thigh circumference was 18.5. So that divided by 2 is 9.25, so 9.25. So what I'll do is actually, on my tape measure, go ahead and find 9.25, which is, that's 9.5, this is 9.25. Go ahead and meet that with that line. Make an indent for the middle. And then now you can use that indent as placement for your thigh measurement on your center line, and you can mark that. I'm gonna mark mine in pencil first. So 9.25 we have right here. We have 7.5 right here. Beginning right here. And lastly, we have our ankle measurement. Mine was 9.5, so that divided by 2 is 4.75. I'm gonna first start by doing this in pencil, and you guys should be already doing this in pencil and connecting each dot, and then we'll smooth it out as we go. And actually what you can do is go ahead and just connect your thigh line to your ankle line, because this isn't far enough from where we need it to be. So just go ahead and connect your thigh line to your ankle on this side. So once you're done, you should have a front pattern that looks something like this. And now we're gonna do something a little different and place a different sheet on top and go ahead and trace this original outline. And you can do that in pencil. I'll do it in dashed marker form so you guys can see it, because this is gonna help us with our back before we add our seam allowance to this part. So first you wanna make sure you transfer your waist, hip, crotch, thigh, knee, and ankle lines onto the new pattern or the new piece of pattern paper. And this is why having see-through paper is good. So once you have these matching, go ahead and trace out your front pattern. You're gonna also want to mark the center, so just so we know it, you don't have to draw the whole line down, just mark what the center is. And once you get that traced out, now we can put this aside and continue working on our front. So now on our front, we're going to add seam allowance everywhere. So I personally like to use 1/2 inch seam allowance, just because that is easier or easiest for me to see on my sewing machine. So at the bottom, I'm gonna let my hem allowance be 1.5 inches. So let me go ahead and mark 1.5 inches down. And then another cool thing about having see-through paper is we're gonna fold up on that line, fold the paper on this line. And then what you're gonna do is mark up to the line you have cut out. And just trace that all the way down. So that way when you fold this on the inside, you have enough fabric. So we'll move this back and then trace those out. And that is now your new hem with seam allowance included. So now you're done with your front piece, you can go ahead and cut it out. All right, so now we're gonna start on the back, which should be relatively easier because we have already traced out our front. So now what I want you to do is take or mark the half mark between the center of the front panel and where you started your pattern. Cool, so you'll go ahead and mark that half mark. I'm gonna keep mine in pencil for now to keep things cleaner. And what she has you do in the original video is take your crotch distance and move that up this way and move this line up by that distance. For me, that would be 2.3, but I've done this already for myself and that was too high. So what I recommend that everyone do is just move this point up by 1.5 inches. Because back pants are slanted to make sure you have enough room for the butt area, and so when you sit down, your pants don't slide down with you. So I'll mark that in Sharpie for you guys so you see it. So this is 1.5 inches up, and you guys can do the same. And now take your waist measurement from your front. Mine is 8 inches. And from this line, go ahead and slant down until you get to your point. So from here to here. So this will be my new waistline, and now we're gonna move on to the crotch point. So next, from your crotch point, you're gonna go out 2 inches. And I'm gonna mark that with pencil first. And then you're gonna go down by 1/2 inch. This is your new crotch line for your back panel. And how we're gonna connect it to the top, we're gonna use the center point as well and come out 2 inches to make sure our curve isn't too deep. We're gonna come out 2 inches from that point, which is right here. And then we're going to connect, let me actually put that in Sharpie so you guys can see. We're going to connect these 3 lines in a curve. So you want to make sure you get this part as smooth as possible. Mine is a little stark, but I'm also using a Sharpie, so it's gonna be like that. But you want to keep this line pretty smooth. To close off the back pattern, what we're going to do is add an inch to both sides of the front thigh, knee, and ankle measurements. So from the thigh measurement, from where our dashed line is from our tracing of our front, we're going to add in an inch on this side and an inch on the opposite side as well. And now we'll go ahead and connect those lines all the way around. So what this does is include our seam allowance from our front pant pattern, and also gives us a little give for our back pattern to make sure our seam stays in place. In the original pattern tutorial, she adds another seam allowance on top of this one. You will not need that. It was way too much the first time I did it. So when you're done, your pant pattern should look like this for now. You won't have all these crazy lines because you'll be doing this in pencil, so you can erase all this. I'm almost tempted to retrace it, but I don't want to waste any pattern paper. I actually might have to slim this part off. It seems a little too wide. But now we're going to work on the dart before we finish. So to do that, you're going to find the middle once again on the top part of your back waistband. And because this is slanted, our dart will also be slanted. So your average back dart is about 5 inches in. I like to go down just a little deeper at 5.5. Your back dart will also be an inch as well. So now we've added in our inch dart to put us back at our normal waist size. So now that we've added an inch to all sides, except for right here, which is good because it factors in our 1/2 inch seam allowance from our front, but also we didn't add it here. So when we sew this at 1/2 inch, it'll bring this in to where these actually meet, which is really nice. So now at the ankle, we'll do the same thing for hemming allowance. Go ahead and draw out a straight line. We'll fold the paper again onto this line and get our hem. Place your ruler right at that line. And go ahead and fold it over. We'll go ahead and trace those seam allowance lines. So we're able to mark them on the front effortlessly. And that is your back pattern all done. So now that you have your back piece all cut out, what you want to do is take your front piece, lay it on top, and line up your knee lines, hip lines, cross lines, etc. Go ahead and line those bad boys up. And because I was using Sharpie, I am just a smidgen off at the top and actually just at the top, thank God. Hopefully because you're using pencil, you're cutting on the right line. So basically we want to make sure that when we line up our respective lines with, oh God, I can't see. There we go, when we line up our hip lines, knee lines, etc., that our sides match up. So that way when we're sewing, we can go ahead and just use our normal seam allowance. So you want to make sure that your sides are trued. So on my back pattern, I actually forgot to add in a 1/2 inch seam allowance at the top. So they do match up. But as you can see, my curve matches up pretty perfectly. It's okay if these don't line up on this side because you do need more inner thigh space anyway. But once you do that and everything matches up, that is your front and back pattern done. But in the next episode of this series, I'm going to show you guys how to add pockets, what kind of pockets you can add, and also how to do the zipper fly. This has been super fun. It's definitely been a video that I've been avoiding just because I won't be there to help you guys with your fit issues and things like that. But at least I can get you guys started somehow. Because with what we just done today, you can do a mock-up pair of pants. Also for the waistband, it would just be however thick you want your waistband to be, whether you want it an inch, 1.5 inches. I think a standard is 1.5 inches or 2 inches. You just do that as the width, and then the length of your waistband would be the length of your waist measurement. Or you can even go out 1.5 inches more than your waist measurement just to be safe. But yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you guys so much for 6,000 subscribers. That's crazy. We just hit 5,000 at the start of quarantine and we're already at 6. That means so much to me. Also be on the lookout for more sit down talk videos with you guys about how Happily Dressed started, what it means to me, and how it's more of a lifestyle than anything. Thank you to everyone who watched my tarot video, even if that's stuff that you're not into. It's something that I really enjoy, and being self-reflective I think is something that everyone can benefit from. So thank you for those who have watched that video. I'll see you guys in my next one. See you guys later.